Good morning, foxes, badgers and otters classes. It's Mrs. Martin here, and we are going to start our new writing topic today. We are going to be looking at a type of poem which is called a cinquain poem. Cinquain. So, in your books, can you please write the date, the LO to investigate cinquain poems, and then I would like you to have a think for me on what you know about poems already. Can you think of any poems you have read? Can you think of things that poems often include? Do you know any types of poem? So date and LO for me into your books and have a think if you know anything about poems already. Pause the video here. Okay, we are going to start by practicing our story map, and our story map is of a cinquain poem. I'm going to read it to you first, and then I would like you to see if you can come up with some actions. So our title is Snow. Snow. Look up from bleakening hills, blows down the light, first breath of wintry wind. Look up and scent the snow. Okay, I will read it to you again, and let's see this time if we can think of any actions to go along. The snow. What could you do for snow? Are you going to do the snow falling? Look up. Oh, I'm going to look up myself for that one. From bleakening hills. I'm going to make some hill shapes with my hands. Blows down the light. I'm going to give a big blow at that bit. First breath. Oh, I'm going to hold up the number 1. Of wintry wind. I'm going to make the wind with my hands blowing through the air. Look up and scent. Oh, that's to do with my nose, so I might point to my nose at that point. And then again, the snow. For the snow, I'm going to show the snow falling through the air. So now it's your turn to see if you can come up with any actions as I read the poem to you again. Snow. Look up from bleakening hills, blows down the light, first breath of wintry wind. Look up and scent the snow. I'll do it one more time, have one more practice, see if you can say the poem along with me. Snow. Look up from bleakening hills, blows down the light, first breath of wintry wind. Look up and scent the snow. Fantastic job if you manage to say that with me and do your actions as well. So this is a cinquain poem, and cinquain poems were invented, I guess would be the word, by this poet here who was called Adelaide Crapsey, and it was in 1911, so that's over 100 years ago now that she invented this kind of poem. Now I'm not going to tell you much more about a cinquain poem at the minute, because I want you to be detectives today. You are going to see what you can work out about these poems. You are going to be a detective. You're going to search for some clues, and you're going to see what you can work out. So we're going to look at cinquain poems for the rest of this week and next week as well. But what on earth does that mean? Now, on the next couple of slides, and I've put them onto a document on our class page as well, so you can have a look on there, I'm going to show you some cinquain poems. I'd like you to have a look at those poems and see what you notice. Is there anything that all of the poems have in common? You might want to think about the number of lines in the poem, the number of words, any patterns you can see, perhaps the shape of them, maybe what each line is about as well. So make sure that you are detective ready. Have you got your magnifying glass out for me? And it's time for you to be detectives. So you can find these on the class page as well in the Word document, but I'll show you them here too. So these are our first 3 Cinquains poems. Have a look and see if you can spot any patterns. Make sure you take some notes if you're a good detective of anything that you spot. Pause the video here for me. Hopefully you've spotted lots of things already. Okay, and here are some more Cinquains poems as well. So pause the video here for me. Remember, you've got to be fantastic detectives. What patterns can you spot in amongst all these poems? Read them carefully. Okay, hopefully you have spent a good chunk of time there reading all of those Cinquains poems and being real detectives, looking for all of those clues. If you haven't, make sure you pause the video here for me before we go on, because it's really important you have a look for yourself and see what you can spot. This will help you when it comes to writing your own Cinquains poem. Okay, I am going to go through now the things that I spotted when I put my detective hat on today. Now, you may have spotted some of these things as well, but I spotted that every poem had 5 lines to it. Each line of the poem develops a subject of the first word. So if we have a look at this poem here, my poem is about penguins. I know that because my first line says penguins. But then every line after that gives me some more information about that first word, about that subject. I've also noticed, and I don't know if any of you were fantastic detectives and noticed this as well, that the poems made a shape. They made almost like a diamond shape, didn't they? With everything being based around the middle. So it's almost like it's got a diamond shape there. I don't know if anybody else managed to notice a pattern with each of the lines as well, but I noticed that we always had the first line was whatever the poem was about. So this line is about penguins. My second line described it, so described what my poem was about, those adjectives. My third line, that gave me my actions. So what did my subject do? Please remember are my verbs. So if I'm thinking about the penguins, they would be swimming, jumping, fishing. My fourth line is probably the most complicated line. This gives us a bit of a feeling about our subject. All the penguins jump down into the water. So it basically is a phrase that gives us some more information about our subject. And then the last line, I think, was a conclusion. So it summed up for us again what the poem was about. Or sometimes you might say that it's a synonym. Remember, synonyms are words that mean very similar things, okay? Now do make sure that you keep your detective notes today, showing what happens on each line of our poem, because we will use these tomorrow when it comes to planning our own Cinquains poem. So make sure you've got some brilliant detective notes ready for me, and we will use those within our English lessons tomorrow.